Tom knows this family, and I don't think Joe does. The company called Vitronic. No, excuse me, that'll show you. Thomas D. Murphy Company. And Thomas D. Murphy Company is in Red Oak, Iowa. Was in Red Oak, Iowa. And they were the originators of what they call the art calendar. The first people that put pictures on modern calendars and so on, and did a beautiful job. When I first got into Right Point, 1952, they kept me in beer chips the first year we were in business, okay? Biggest customer we had. I don't remember what they did, but we became very, very close friends. And I'm a fisherman, as some of you probably know. And so were they. So were a number of them. So Bill Murphy, whose great-grandfather had started this business in 1860-something, and his boys, remember we had a rep, John Murphy? He was a grandson, great-grandson of the founder of that company. But Bill Murphy and sometimes two of his sons and a couple of his other people, I used to take them to Canada to go fishing. And we fished all over Canada. We fished in York Factory and Churchill and up in Beaufort Sea and name a place we've been there, Gander, Newfoundland, all over the place. So we were going to a place called God's Lake, and we had gone there a number of years. And we were up there one time, Bill had one arm, by the way. He lost his arm in a printing press at his father's place when he was 16, 17 years old working there. He had an artificial arm that they made him at this company. So it was a pretty cold day at that time, which is sort of normal sometimes in July when you're up that far. And he caught 22 walleye that day. And we come back to the lodge we were staying in, and we're playing poker. There's 6 of us, we're playing poker. And he starts to play a card, and he collapses on the ground. And, you know, of course, we were all concerned and everything. We tried to revive him, and that wasn't working. And Westinghouse had a party up there at the time with a plane, but it was raining so bad that they couldn't do anything. They couldn't go anywhere with the airplane. They had to stay there. But they had a doctor with them. The doctor comes in, he stands at the door. He doesn't come in to see Bill on the floor. And he says, "You're wasting your time." He's dead, which he was. Okay. So now I got my best customer lying dead on the and with what, artificial arm. So we pick him up, huh? He was in his, I think, very late 50s. Oh. Yeah, he wasn't too old. And anyway, we pick him up, and we had to end up calling down to Winnipeg, where we flew up from, to get a plane to come up, so take him back, take him back down there. So we put him on his cot that night, and he's lying there like this on the cot, and didn't think anything of it, put a cover over him and everything else. And the next morning, the plane comes in, and it's about a mile out on this mud runway, which you can't get to very easily. So, okay, we pick Murph up, and his arms are like this. So, to put his arms like this, he can't do it. Rigor mortis, it said. And I mean, it was like a leg on that table. Okay, so both arms are like this. So, okay, to get him out of the cabin, we had to turn him this way. Get him out through the door, and now the plane is way the hell out there. How are we going to get him to the thing? Well, the guy who was the owner had a truck, an old, beat-up, narrow truck. He goes and he takes the door off of his ice house, and it becomes a stretcher. And we walk him out to the truck, and we had to put him in the bed of the truck. Well, because we couldn't bend his arms, it was like this, and his head's hanging over the back end. And we drive him out to the airplane. Okay. Now, this is a 4-passenger plane, pilot and 3. All right? And Murph is as stiff as that table, and he doesn't bend. How do we get him into the plane? Well, it took a while to get him in the bed. I flew back with he and the pilot, and his artificial arm was sticking out the window. All the way back, and it was rain and rain, and it was rainstorms and everything else, and we landed in Winnipeg. We landed in Winnipeg, and we were met by the Mounties. Because it was, reported of mysterious death up in the boonies, and they want to know what the heck's going on. So they take him to wherever it was, and we go to a hotel and everything else, and then they interrogated us, me, and as to what went on, and we explained the whole thing and everything. And we went home. The guys followed in another plane, and the rest of them, we went home. And the funeral was supposed to be 2 days later in Red Oak. Now, Red Oak is in nowhere, Iowa. It's Johnny Carson was born somewhere right near Red Oak. I think it was Shenandoah or something like that. It's in western Iowa, about halfway between the states up and down. But what they did was they shipped his body by accident to Omaha from Canada. It was a mounted police thing, you know. They had the address and everything, and his son, Pat, was with us, you know, at the time. It wasn't as funny then. So we go to Red Oak for the funeral, and we had to sit there 2 days till the body came. So the body came from Omaha, they shipped it to Red Oak, Iowa, and everything. But trying to transport him in this plane, he couldn't get his arm off, couldn't get his arm straight. And let me tell you something, you fly in a small airplane, 4 people with a window open, and a guy's arm. It's an experience. No question about it. You know. But the nice part of the whole thing was, he caught 22 walleyes.